Thank you. I know what you're thinking. The soldier from Toy Story let himself go. Hey, my name's Mark. I'm 57 this year. I've got 4 grown-up kids. I've got 2 granddaughters. And I'm at that age where my kids start checking my web history for signs of Viagra purchasing. But not quite as hurriedly and worriedly as my wife. My perimenopausal wife is checking for signs of Viagra purchasing. Now, I'm on thin ice here because I was going to make a joke. I was going to write a joke about the menopause. But I've been told really clearly it's not fucking funny. It's not funny, it's not big, it's not clever. So I'm not going to do that because I am hoping to have sex again this year. Hopefully with my wife. Now, I was born in the late 1960s, which means that I'm of that era where Star Wars kick-started my life. Like, I can't remember much before Star Wars. December 1977. My brother, 2 years younger than me, he loves Star Wars so much, he's just had a Star Wars facial tattoo. You should see the look on his face. Now, we're getting on a bit. My morning habits have changed. I used to get up in the morning, reach under the bed and drink whatever I'd been drinking the night before, roll a spliff, and the days were lovely. It's not like that anymore. This is my perfect morning. It's a recipe. You can have it if you wish. You start off, wake up at 5. 10 minutes of yoga outside as the sun rises. Then get the 5:40 train to London. I meditate on the way down. That's a skill on its own. I get on my bike and I cycle across London and I go to Highgate Ponds where I meet my mates. And we go for a cold water swim. We do some vigorous breath work on the heath, which could be a euphemism, but it isn't a euphemism. And then we all have breakfast together. All that's missing from this perfect recipe, from this perfect morning, is a slow left-handed wank. But the train's too busy and the conductor's right-handed. Now, faced with this kind of future of reminiscing on my broken dreams and trying to avoid the inevitable slide into beige, fleece, elasticated waist M&S action slacks and Skechers. I'm sorry, I know some of you have got Skechers on. Please just stop it. I did what any other self-respecting Guardian reading bloke would do. I doubled down on my niches, every single one of them. But I overcorrected. I've become a stereotype. So I carve spoons. I know. I teach Qigong. It's like Tai Chi, but kind of more hardcore. And I do cold water swimming. Cold water swimming is the new ecstasy. But it genuinely, I cannot be more honest than this. It's a little bit of a downgrade on ecstasy. Definitely a downgrade on ecstasy. And I make my sourdough bread. Now, sourdough bread, it's not a baking prep. It's a religion. You know that, right? My starter has got its own name. My starter's called Kevin. It's got more followers on Instagram than I do. And I genuinely have to care for it and look after it every day. To add to this list of middle-class concerns, I've even had a go at tantric sex. Look, don't knock it until you've tried it, right? Honestly, it's all right. Do you all know what tantric... You probably know what tantric is, yeah. I kind of knew where I'd be focused on this little bit here, the millennial audience here, right? But the thing about tantric sex, it's lots of deep breathing, some really tense silences, a little eye contact, and delayed gratification. Sometimes holding back for hours. Hours. Basically, it's like trying to cancel an internet contract, and you get the same results. A lot of time suspended on hold, some mild discomfort, a little crying until one of you eventually gives up. But the ultimate move into trying to reconnect with my primal self was to join an African drumming circle, in West Bridgeford. 6 men, plus me, all white, all middle-aged, and all called Steve. One of them makes goat's milk kefir, and another is changing his name by default to Wolf. At least that's one less Steve to worry about. Anyway, that's how it works. We get there, we sit round the fire, stripped naked to the waist, some more. Eyes closed, and we beat the living daylights out of our congas. The aim is to beat the congas so furiously that eventually you will pee red. We begin drumming. Steve 1 starts howling. Steve 2 begins weeping. Steve 3 accidentally mistakes his congas for mine, and Steve 4 has to intervene before it gets a little bit nasty. And then, pop, it happens. A blood vessel in my scrotum goes, and I think, finally, I've achieved something, because in some cultures, pissing red is a sign of virility, not a sign of midlife crisis. But in West Bridgeford, all it meant was that Wolf Steve had to drive me to A&E in his Fiat Multipla. It's come to this. I used to prove my manhood with playing rugby, partying hard, and adventures. Now it's all about bursting capillaries to a rhythmic percussion. Welcome to midlife. Anyway, Wolf Steve dropped me home after A&E, and finally I had some good news. Kevin, the sourdough starter, had risen. Hooray! Well, at least somebody had. So I limped into the kitchen, smelling faintly of goat's milk, clutching some frozen peas to my scrotum. My wife looked up. No drama, she knows what the deal is. No judgment, no shock. She slid me a chocolate hobnob and a cup of tea. That's real love. And that's when I realised, always the carbs, always. And that's when I realised, middle age isn't a crisis. It's a slow ferment with occasional swelling and unpredictable bleeding. There are layers to that. Some of that will come back to you later. You'll think, I know what he meant now. It's called a burner in the trade. And somewhere in West Bridgeford, the Steves are still howling. They're drumming topless, and they're doing everything they can to avoid therapy. May the force be with them, and ideally a first aider with a very strong constitution.